Champions is fullback Pat Dwyer, but Liam Simpson has the ability to play confidently in the number 3 jersey in front of Michael Walsh. Consequently, Joe Welsh gets his chance at left corner back, while up front Liam McCarthy makes a welcome return to the half-forward line. Kilkenny have been improving all the time, but still very much depend on John Power, DJ Carey and Eamon Morrissey, not alone to be creative, but also to take each chance that comes their way. Gerard Barry, the Antrim County Secretary, told me that they had to ask for more tickets. And as you can see, the Antrim supporters standing on their feet, applauding their team. The Ulster champions, they felt highly insulted that they lost the title last year. But this time, they're trying to make amends, to get to the All-Ireland final for the first time since 1989. But Kilkenny say, no way, you're not going to do what you did in 1943. A nice gesture by the Antrim County Board was to bring the members of the 1943 team here to Croke Park for today's All-Ireland semi-final, including Brendan McGarry, father Paddy. Brendan McGarry is a selector in the Antrim team. His father Paddy was a member of that Antrim team that defeated Kilkenny way back in '43. So, the question being asked around Croke Park, is it Antrim or Kilkenny? And that strong breeze, as you can see, that Kieran Barr and Ger Canning were speaking about earlier, is going to be a factor. There's no doubt about it. It's varying at times. The flags, tricolour up on top of the Cusick stand, flowing very much from right to left as we look from our commentary position. And as the players march around in front of Hill 16, you can see that, well, it's a pretty strong breeze, let's put it like that. Kieran Barr has joined me in the commentary position. Your thoughts at this stage? It must bring back memories, Kieran, of your own days out there in the Antrim colours.
It does. I was getting a bit excited there. I think I went into the changing rooms, into the Antrim changing room before the match, and I almost felt like sitting down with them and putting my boots on and my shorts on and getting stuck in. But it's a big day for Antrim, and I hope they can do well. And the scene is set, like it's like 1991 all over again, and I hope they can do as well as they did that day and maybe a little bit extra and come out with a win.
Certainly a major day, a very big day for the people of Kilkenny and Antrim, and particularly if you're a Kilkenny or an Antrim person in America or across Europe. And RT Sport are delighted to welcome all our viewers from as far away as California, Washington, New York, Chicago, and indeed in Dusseldorf, Paris, The Hague, Munich, and of course across the Irish Sea in London, Manchester, Birmingham and Leeds. So this All-Ireland semi-final seen right across the globe, and certainly RT Sport are delighted to have you on board. So Antrim will be playing with a wind advantage seemingly in the first half, but as Kieran was saying earlier, it's varying at times, changing directions, so it'll be interesting just to see what way the wind will blow. As Terence Murray, the man from Limerick, match referee, telling players just to hold back. Match starts just 2 minutes earlier, in fact, than the appointed time, but away we go. 70 minutes to decide who goes to the All-Ireland final. And already, interestingly, very interestingly, DJ Carey has moved into full forward.
Yes, and I see Eamon Morrissey is being marked by James McNaughton as well, so there's a few switches around in the Antrim team to try to cover off what they think are the danger players on the Kilkenny side.
And down at the other end, it looks like Eddie O'Connor has gone in full back on Ulcan McPetrich. So tactically, both Kilkenny and Antrim mentors are already in action. It's a big Pat O'Neill. First touch for Dominic McMullen, and the first battle won against DJ Carey. Using the short and to get it down. Whereas once again, the mighty Sambo McNaughton. Good ball in towards Gregory O'Kane. Cleverly giving it outside to Jim Close, who didn't quite control it first time, but he did well just to maintain authority over the ball. And once again, as Kilkenny is coming away with it, to Pat O'Neill. Cleverly getting it out for Liam Keown. Sending a good ball up towards DJ Carey. Dominic McMullen winning the second battle almost. And it's been known many times in the past that while Antrim played well, their backs at times conceded soft scores. First touch for Pat Gallagher from St. John's Club in Belfast. Getting it down towards Gary O'Kane. Pulled on by Ronan Donnelly. Comes down towards Alistair Elliott from Dunloy. Jim Close just taking his eye off it for a moment. Back to Alistair Elliott. Giving it to Paul Jennings. And the first shot sails straight over the bar. And that's Paul McKillen scoring a wonderful point.
That was a fantastic score from Paul McKillen, and I think in these first few minutes we've seen Dominic McMullen at full back winning the first two contests, and then some loose ball, and McKillen getting on to the end of it and putting over a lovely score.
That should be a psychological boost to Antrim. They needed a bright start, and they've got it.
Well, I think the minors took nearly 25 minutes to score, but it's a different story here with the seniors. They haven't hung around and they've stuck on over a point straight away.
So Bill Hennessy sending it up towards Adrian Ronan. Nice turn, and that's gone to the left and wide. Adrian Ronan, of course, very determined to make sure that if Kilkenny get to the All-Ireland final, that he's going to be there in the first 15. Intended ball for Terence McNaughton, just going out over the line.
I think that might show you the sort of the conditions, the wind conditions. I think Pat Gallagher had trouble judging where exactly the wind was going to take that ball. So
Liam Keown cutting it nicely. On McCluskey, giving it to Dominic McKinley. Running onto it, lovely is Gary O'Kane, but intercepting well is Pat O'Neill. Ball down towards Ronan Donnelly, and that's a line ball for Antrim.
I think Antrim are using this breeze well. It was a good bit of play by McCluskey, who gave it to Dominic McKinley in centre back, and he drove a long clearance down into the forwards. But Antrim need to be clocking up scores at this stage.
This is Seamus McMullen. Oh, he cuts it well. Good ball. Up towards Ulster McPetridge, but he doesn't gather it. Pat O'Neill, Gary O'Kane. Pulled on superbly by Pat O'Neill. A race for possession. And it's Seamus McMullen once more, the right corner back, which floats in a ball which just goes to the left and wide.
That's good play by Antrim. They're not just holding on to the ball, a little bit of nerves, and they're letting the ball pop out of their hand when they're going for possession, but the backs are well up with their men at the minute and winning good ball.
Paul McKillen knocking it down for Gary O'Kane. Well cut out, however, by Joe Welch. Out towards Liam Keown. Nice, simple strike. Effective strike. Knocked down. John Power. Back to Owen McCluskey from Lochiel. Well blocked down. James McNaughton. First cousin of Sambo. So the hurling blood is there. Goes down towards Jim Close. Coming in is Gary O'Kane. He loses the boot, but he gets it as Jim Close. Trying to use the ball effectively and quickly, but he loses out and easily picked up by Liam Simpson. Ron Donnelly and Adrian Ronan. Well pulled on. Boot or no boot. The concentration is there. Liam Keown being harassed by Alistair Elliott. Up towards DJ Carey. Two Antrim players. Dominic McMullen getting it down for Paul McKillen. Takes two Kilkenny players to stop him, but eventually they come forward in the form of Michael Phelan. Good play by Antrim. They stuck with him and didn't foul him. Still not out of the danger area. Well pulled on by Liam McCarthy. And eventually it's James McNaughton that comes away with it. Giving it quick, effective pass to Paul McKillen. Underneath it is Willie O'Connor. Calling for it, his colleague in the half-back line, Liam Keown. Sending it back up. Antrim backs just a little bit out of position. Comes down towards DJ, and DJ Carey puts it over the bar.
It was good play by Kilkenny that time. I think their halfbacks seem to be getting more of the loose ball than Antrim are getting, and they're sending it back repeatedly. And after a bit of pressure, they were able to put that score. As you can see here, that high ball in. Dominic McMullen probably should have had it, and DJ's doing what he's good at, getting the loose ball, turning quickly and striking.
Here comes Kilkenny again. Pat O'Neill sending it straight up the middle. Eamon Morrissey being marked by James McNaughton. Morrissey floating one in, but floating it very much to the left and wide.
Good pressure there, but Eamon Morrissey hasn't showed yet. But I'd be sort of worried about the pace factor between Morrissey and James McNaughton. If Morrissey can get ball in the loose, he's going to go for a run, and we'll then see how fit James McNaughton is.
It's going to be a test for 70 minutes as the ball drops down towards Gary O'Kane. Remember, he played corner back in the 89 All-Ireland final, marking Nicky English. Now he's set up forward for Antrim, cutting in nicely, sending in a ball, but the referee has blown his whistle, and he's given a free for that challenge on Gary O'Kane. So it's the first realistic free opportunity for Antrim.
That was good play by Gary O'Kane. He worked very hard for that and picked up any scraps that Paul McKillen actually had. The ball was actually broken away from Paul McKillen, and Gary O'Kane was able to get in there and win a free by forceful play through the centre.
Corner forward Gregory O'Kane, despite not controlling it perfectly, put it straight over the bar. His first in this All-Ireland semi-final.
Well, I met that young man's parents on the way up here, and they were saying this is a life's ambition for him to play in Coke Park in an All-Ireland semi-final, but that'll settle him down.
Well pulled on by Paul McKillen, getting it down towards Gary O'Kane, and that's going to cause no problem whatsoever to Michael Walsh.
Yeah, I think Paul McKillen is winning midfield at the minute. He seems to be getting a lot of ball, breaking a lot of possession, and Gary O'Kane seems to be able to get on to the end of it and is reading it very well.
Well picked up very neatly by Jim Close, giving it outside to Paul Jennings, and that too is tailing to the right and wide. But it must be said, Kieran, that the Antrim players, both midfielders, first of all, they're doing very well in midfield, but they're not afraid to have a go from far out.
They're not, and they've got that breeze behind them, so they've been told they have that breeze to go for long distance points, but they're going to have to start clocking up scores now. When you've got that breeze, you've got to take all the opportunities.
And the slither seems to hold quite a lot with the strength of the breeze, and once more, it's Paul Jennings. An easy ball for Liam Simpson, pulled on first time. PJ Delaney unable to control it. Jim Close does for Antrim. Eddie O'Connor, good calling. Captain giving it to brother Willie. Knocked away. Sent in, no problem whatsoever to James McNaughton. The helmet is discarded. Comes down towards Liam Keown. Chasing after him is Terence McNaughton. This is Liam McCarthy, bursting his way past Owen McCloskey, sending it across to DJ Carey. An opportunity, half blocked down, and Pat Gallagher not quite controlling it, back out to DJ Carey. This is an anxious moment for Kilkenny. Oh, swept away brilliantly by Dominic McKinley.
Great defence by Antrim there.
Adrian Ronan losing out in the hurley, but gives it inside to PJ Delaney. Antrim has to survive this onslaught. Delaney whips it across and puts it over the bar.
I think the Antrim defence would be happy enough for that, because there could have been 2 goals there, and they did very, very well to stop that. DJ Carey had goal written all over it when he got that ball, and yet the defence was able to get a block in, and then the second time when it came out, they were able to scoop the ball away.
Big Pat Gallagher with a lengthy puck out that drops over towards Jim Close and Willie O'Connor, and that's going to be a line ball for Antrim.
I think they were lucky to get that. That's the type of possession they've got to win today, because long ball in there, they haven't got that big a man. Maybe Terence McNaughton's the biggest of them, and they're going to have to be winning possession in that key area where the puck outs are landing.
Ollie Walsh just looking on as Paul Jennings puts this over towards Jim Close. Jim trying to get it back to Paul, which he succeeds in doing so, and the crowd respond at the far side. That's a lovely point. It means the two midfielders have now registered 2 of Antirm's 3 points.
I think this guy here is vastly underrated. He's a class hurler and he's now found his range. 1 wide and 1 score, and hopefully for the rest of the game he'll be finding his range. But Close here does very well, uses his head. If you can kick it, get rid of it, and Jennings just has time to strike the ball over the bar.
And the Antrim support is something else here in Croke Park this afternoon. Sending it down towards Gregory O'Kane. Cut out, however, by Liam Keown. Liam McCarthy, Owen McCluskey, Eamon Morrissey, nipping in PJ Delaney. And Antrim survive once more. This time it's Ronan Donnelly, one of the most promising young hurlers in Antrim. Dominic McKinley to Sambo, lovely skill. Well tackled and well marshaled by Liam Keown, helped out by Paul McKillen. Antrim are playing with confidence. Gary O'Kane, Uncle Gary, sending it up towards his nephew Gregory O'Kane, but it's Ulcan McFettridge beaten this time by Eddie O'Connor. Bill Hennessy surely fouled. That has to be a free for Kilkenny.
I think I'd be worried there. That ball in was an ideal ball for Ulcan McFettridge, and he actually wasn't able to get on to the end of it, so I'd be hoping that he's going to produce something special today, but on the evidence so far he just doesn't seem to be with the pace of the game in general.
Pat O'Neill. Antrim, Ronan Donnelly losing out to Adrian Ronan. That's a dangerous ball which Pat Gallagher calls, gathers and clears. The loose ball for Willie O'Connor to run onto. Sending it in towards Eamon Morrissey. He's great at picking up that sort of low ball, not this time because James McNaughton is staying with him, and coming in to help out is Owen McCluskey. Good play, but well blocked down by Michael Phelan. Comes to Liam Keown, who drives it in, but that goes to the left and wide.
You can see Liam Walsh inside there on the 21-yard line, completely free, and the ball should have been played through to him, but Antrim's defence is playing very well. They're getting the danger men and they're crowding with 2 or 3 players at a time, and thus actually stopping the danger men from getting that chance to get the ball up and get running at the defence.
Fine puck out by Pat Gallagher. Gary O'Kane working hard, but it comes across to Liam Keown. Cleared by Bill Hennessy. Well won by Seamus McMullen. And that's a free.
That was a bad foul, yeah. It was a bad free. You could see with that run, Seamus McMullen was actually getting yards and yards on Adrian Ronan. He was beating him for pace hands down, and it was always on any hurler in that position. I would defend Michael Phelan. The guy's wide open, and as he comes through here, you can see Ronan's being left behind in his wake. He's taking yards out of him, and as he comes along, he's always going to pass or dummy a pass, and Phelan just keeps his eye on the man, and instead of playing the ball, just comes in straight and bang. Now, it's not that serious a foul because he actually didn't connect with him completely, but the intention was there, and the referee probably correct to give a free, and maybe has booked him as well. But I think so far, Murray, the game is extraordinarily quick, I think, and Antrim are keeping the game exactly right. They're bunching in defence, they're stopping the Kilkenny forwards from getting any room, and Michael Phelan here is having a tough time playing on Paul McKillen in the middle of the park. He's not getting any change out of him at all, and it's a key area for Kilkenny, middle of the field, and this man, if they're going to win the game, this guy is going to do something. And John Power also in centre forward, but we haven't seen any of them yet, and it's great credit, I think, to the Antrim defence. But if Antrim are going to win the game, the forwards are going to have to start putting scores over and getting goals, especially in the first half of this breeze. Like, John Power yet hasn't got a ball, and we've seen Dominic McKinley, Woody, the centre back, clearing 3 or 4. Like, we haven't seen this happen so far this season. All we've seen is Kilkenny running at defences and getting loads of room and being able to take people apart, and they haven't had that so far.
And I think, Kieran, I think they now realise they're not going to get too much room from this Antrim defence. Paul McKillen loading it straight over the bar. His second point of the afternoon, and Humpy makes it 4 points to 2 in favour of Antrim.
This guy, Paul McKillen, has been on this Antrim team sort of 8, 9, 10 years, and he's just a fantastic player and has been there for years for them, and that was a great free.
Michael Phelan getting a touch, Liam McCarthy pulling on it. comes to James McNaughton. Lashing one up towards Olkin McFetridge and Gregory O'Kane. Willie O'Connor coming in. Liam Simpson. Jim Close putting the pressure on the Glenmore man. But despite that, he manages to get it up towards John Power, knocked away. Plenty of Antrim hurlers there. One of them, Ronan Donnelly, but he turned into it. Swept towards PJ Delaney, dropping it in low. James McNaughton, Eamon Morrissey. Onto DJ Carey. Goal on here. There it is. Once again, the Antrim defence are suspect. They were doing so well, but they have this tendency of giving away soft scores, and you don't give chances like that to a man like DJ Carey.
I'd agree with you, Marty. That ball should have been won by James McNaughton in the first place. The second attempt, Dominic McMullen should have cleared that ball, but Carey gets in, is what he's so good at, and he's not going to miss from that angle at that distance. The keeper had no chance at all. Yes, we see it here again. Like, the goalkeeper hasn't got a hope, but as you said, Marty, the defence is all over the place, sir. That ball should have been cleared the first time. You can see in James McNaughton, he knows it was his mistake.
And meanwhile, it's Kilkenny that send it up towards John Power, and that's going to be a line ball for Antrim. It's a terrible pity that the Antrim defence have this tendency over the years, Kieran, to give away simple, easy scores. I remember 2 years ago.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. And it's simple, basic mistakes. It's nothing special or fantastic. The ball comes in and they just don't win possession clean. They fumble it, and next thing DJ's onto it, and it's the back of the net.
Liam Keoghan pulling on it, down towards Michael Phelan. Willie O'Connor. Poor ball, goes straight to Ronan Donnelly. To his centre half back, Dominic McKinley. Antrim have shown in the past that they have character. That soft goal would upset a lot of teams' confidence, but Antrim come forward. John Power having to go back into his own half back line to try and gather it. Breaks for Joe Welsh. Alistair Elliott after him. Liam Simpson to Willie O'Connor, who's always available. Adrian Ronan sending a ball up towards DJ Carey. This is Seamus McMullen going back to gather it, and again it's not gathered on the first attempt. Sending it across field towards Liam McCarthy. That's a great ball from DJ Carey, and a brilliant point by Liam McCarthy.
I think at the other end of the pitch, Jim Close should have made better of the chance that he had to strike the ball. They lose possession, and the Kilkenny defence are getting out too easily. They're just walking out, picking their passes, playing the ball low in the corners. DJ gets a ball and uses his head and plays it across to Liam McCarthy, and it goes over the bar. It's too simple.
Well, knocked back there by Paul McKellen. But Liam McCarthy is a little bit more prominent now and given a lot of space by Owen McCluskey. Ronan Donnelly sending it up towards his full forward line, and this time Gregory O'Kane gets the break, gives it outside to Sambo. Terence McNaughton driving it in low, and Michael Walsh alert as always. And Walsh, who is going for a record for a Leinster goalkeeper to keep 4 consecutive clean sheets in the championship. It would be the first time ever that a Leinster goalkeeper did it, and on this occasion it almost broke the duck.
I think Terence McNaughton was just chancing his arm there, nearly like just bouncing one in front of him to see what would happen, and in actual fact the broken ball, Close was very close to getting the ball into the back of the net. It was worth a try.
Easily cut out, however, by Liam Simpson, that sideline cut. Adrian Ronan. Dominic McKinley. 20 minutes gone now in the first half. Paul McKillen stepping aside Michael Phelan as if he wasn't there, giving it to Paul Jennings, front of the post, and that's a very good point.
That's more like it for Antrim. They can play hurling like that, looking for guys, taking a man on, beat your own man, draw another player out of defence, pass the ball to the middle at the minute, or they're a point behind Kilkenny. There's nothing in this game, and they've got to keep their momentum going.
Knocked down. Sending a ball up towards Gregory O'Kane once more. Liam Simpson. Is that a line ball? Yes, it is, says the linesman.
I think, Marty, one of the facts of the Antrim forward line at the minute, they're not winning a whole lot of ball in there, but they're putting some certain amount of pressure when they can get the chance on Kilkenny backs, and it's good, but they're going to have to pick that up a bit. You know, the goal that Kilkenny got in the last point were both from defensive clearances and very easy clearances. You know, Antrim are going to have to tighten that area up considerably, and that was good work by Gregory O'Kane there to force the defender over the sideline.
Ballycastle's Paul Jennings misses it the first time and doesn't really connect with the second time. But anyway, it's Alistair Elliott that has it. Liam Simpson pulling on it. Adrian Ronan. Bill Hennessy chasing after it. Ronan Donnelly goes down. And it's John Power that has it. Up towards PJ Delaney. Now playing top of the left. Seamus McMullen fouling young Delaney. So it's a free for Kilkenny.
That was a fairly obvious foul, but I think it was forced on Antrim by the fact that their right half back got to take a bad facial injury and had to go off, or had to go down, Ronan Donnelly. So they were a man short in defence. And the easiest thing to do, not let a guy run straight to the defence, is foul him and give away a free from distance. I'd say it looks slightly worrying for Antrim here. He took a very strong shoulder in the face. He was wide open going into the challenge, and really it was partly his own fault that he was a bit too wide, trying to just come in for a tackle and look at the ball instead of squaring his shoulder up and taking the challenge on the shoulder.
Liam McCarthy and James McNaughton getting a little drop of energy. Indeed, Antrim are the only team I know that before they go out in the dressing room, they have peaches and glucose just to get extra energy, and Ronan Donnelly certainly could do with a spoon of it now.
If you look at the size of me, Morris, I've eaten them peaches for years. Yeah, he was sort of wide open coming in for the challenge. It was always Bill Hennessy's ball, and he should have probably played it.
And DJ Carey puts it over the bar to give Kilkenny a 2-point advantage.
Yeah, there's nothing really in this game. That goal that Kilkenny got was sort of against the run of play, so I think Antrim are winning with a shout here.
And again, Pat Gallagher puts his puckouts over to this side. Liam McCarthy, and certainly from an Antrim point of view, he is beginning to cause problems. James McNaughton, Eamon Morrissey and DJ Carey. Oh, lovely ball from Carey, giving it across to Eamon Morrissey. Mushy almost makes a mush of it, but he comes away with it. Giving it outside to Ronan Donnelly, student in Jordanstown, getting there first time. Pat O'Neill sweeping across to gather it. Gary O'Kane doing well to keep it in. Stepping neatly past Willie O'Connor. Well picked up by Gregory O'Kane. Sending in a ball which is going once more to the right and wide. That's 4 wides now for Antrim in this first half.
That's Alistair Elliott there, and actually he's been moved out to the half forward line because he wasn't getting a lot of change out of Joe Welch, and they've moved close across into the corner, hoping that they're going to get something inside in the inside forwards, and Close might win possession in there.
Willie O'Connor unable to hold on to it. Oh, lovely play. Giving it back to Paul McKillen. Sending it high and sending it wide.
You can hear the oohs and ahs in the crowd as those wides are going over. The crowd know as well as we do that, you know, when they've got the breeze, they've got to be putting those points over the bar.
Interesting now to see that Jim Close has gone into corner forward, left corner forward. Alistair Elliott is now playing for Antrim at right half forward. So obviously they see in the Antrim bench that Willie O'Connor was getting a lot of the slither, much to their dissatisfaction. Pat O'Neill. That's a line ball for Antrim.
I think too, Pat O'Neill's been quite quiet in this game so far. He hasn't really done a whole lot in the game, and if he starts playing and dominating games like he has done this summer so far, Antrim are going to be in trouble. But at the minute, he seems to be a bit subdued. Possibly maybe his injury that he picked up in the Leinster final recently, he might still be suffering ill effects from that.
Paul McKillen, 27-year-old from Ballycastle. Maybe a little bit disappointed with that, but he's still kept in by Jim Close. And he gets inside the Kilkenny cover. To his right is Gary O'Kane, still Jim Close. Oh, brilliantly knocked away by Pat O'Neill. Excellent skill. Liam Keown driving it in. Bill Hennessy unable to control it. And gathers it this time. And certainly Kilkenny had a little bit of luck on that occasion. DJ Carey trying to switch it over towards Adrian Ronan. Ronan Donnelly going to get there first. Well picked up and well clear. That's what Antrim defence should be doing all the time. No messing around, no hesitancy whatsoever. Paul Jennings, the Willie O'Connor, Pat O'Neill. And that's going to be a line ball for Kilkenny.
I think the energy that the two midfielders are putting into the game so far should be hopefully it'll be picked up by the forwards. They're not really doing it for Antrim at the minute. There's no ball being taken on. Close there had a good chance to run in on defence and nothing came of it. He was robbed of the ball. Antrim need to be getting in around the house and putting scores over and putting pressure in, and they're not doing that at the minute.
That's an Ashgar glove that Liam McCarthy is wearing. It was designed by Dr. Brendan Cudahy. Of course, Liam had a broken bone in his hand. Great advantage now to hurlers. John Power doing the old Pat Delaney trick of hopping the sliotar off the ground, and John Power gets a lot of space, but the clearance inside was not a good one, and eventually cleared down towards Paul McKillop. That right flank of the Antrim defence at times being a little bit exposed. Oh, well, if John Power can do it, so too can Paul McKillop. Alistair Elliott giving Willie O'Connor a little bit more food for thought. Alistair Elliott swinging it once more to the left and wide.
I think Alistair Elliott actually prefers to play on the left-hand side of the pitch. He's sort of going over there, as you say, Marty, to try to keep Willie O'Connor quiet. But his shooting, he's being forced to play on that side. We saw John Power there, one of his runs. If he starts that, Antrim are going to be in big trouble if he picks up a few of those balls and goes through the defence.
27 minutes gone in the first half. Gary O'Kane trying to find his nephew, Gregory O'Kane. But Liam Simpson gets the sliotar and gets it down towards Eamon Morrissey. Well kept in. A chase for Seamus McMullen. In their anxiety to gather the ball, they give it straight away. PJ Delaney and Pat Gallagher is there, half deflected, and Gallagher was alert.
Good defence there, half deflected, as you say, Morrissey, but Antrim are showing signs of weakness in the defence.
And the referee turns Murray, not liking the challenge by the Antrim player. It's a free for Kilkenny.
I think Kilkenny seem to be able to get onto that loose